Now, hopefully you've watched the alternative video on how to factorize, but this time I'm going to add in a coefficient of the x squared term, and you'll see why that method is particularly useful. So, normally what we would do, we'd start off by looking at this constant term, the term with no x's, and write down the factors. But that was because we only had one x squared. Now, I didn't say this before, but technically, if you did this number, which was a 1 before, times the 5, and we would be writing the factors of 5. But as soon as it's, and so you technically don't need to do it, but as soon as there's a coefficient here greater than 1, you do have to multiply. So this is the only thing you need to remember that's extra. So you're going to include this number, multiply these parts, and write the factors of your answer. So in this case, be the factor pairs of 20. So we have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. And just like last time, we're saying which pairs, 1, 2, or 3, can I use to make 19? Clearly it's 1 and 20. And to make a positive 19, I have to have a positive 20, take away a 1. So instead of writing it like this middle blue term, I'm going to write it using these two terms. So I've chosen to write the 20 first, and in the previous video I did show you why it doesn't matter which of these two terms I write first. And then my minus 1x, I haven't included the 1 because I'm a good mathematician, and chucked on the 5. So now we're going to factorise the first bit and the second bit. So we're going to factorise fully always, it just makes it easier this way. So 4x is the highest common factor, take that outside, and I need an x plus 5 inside. And here, the only common factor is 1. It's a bit annoying, but sometimes you've got to do it. And remember, the brackets must be the same. Minus 1x, got that, minus 5. Now, my highest common factor terms form my first bracket, and my repeated bracket is the second one. You can expand that to check as well. It's always a good idea to do that, but that is the correct answer. Let's have a look at another one. So again, remember the start. It's not just the factors of 3. We've got to count this number as well, multiply them together, and we have the factors of 6. Now, this is a tough one because we can make a minus 5 using both of these pairs, but only one is the correct answer. Now, the best way of thinking about this is you're going to have to multiply. Well, let's put it this way. To make the minus 5, I can either do 1 take away 6, or I can do minus 2 minus 3. But I know I'm going to multiply whatever numbers I choose to make a negative sum. So a negative answer, I should say. So with this one, because it was a minus and a minus, if I multiply those, I would get a positive answer. So I know it's not those, and therefore these ones. Now I'll explain at the end of this video another way of doing it. So it's going to be these two, and it's going to be a positive 1 take away 6, and I chose to write it in this order. Again, it doesn't matter. So we're going to factorise two terms at a time. Highest common factor was x, and the next one, the highest common factor, is 3. So I'm going to write the repeated bracket here first because I just like to write the biggest one first. So it's 2x plus 1, and my highest common factors is my second. Now, if you had used minus 2 and minus 3, when you've tried to do this process, you would have had a different you wouldn't have had this repeated bracket. They would have been different. That's another way you know you have gone wrong. And then if you get that situation, you go, oh, it must have been the other factor pair, and eventually you would have got it right. And like I keep saying before in the other video, if I had written minus 6 plus x, my repeated bracket would have been x minus 3, and I've had a 2x and a 1 outside. It will still give you the same answer, so it doesn't matter. So that's one way of doing it with the coefficient of x squared, and the other way is trial and error. So make sure you watch the other video as well. You might find that method easier.